Imagine being given one simple instruction, one clear warning, one boundary meant to protect you. Now imagine believing that nothing bad could possibly happen if you ignored it. History has shown us that some of humanity's greatest tragedies didn't happen because people lacked intelligence. They happened because people believed they knew better than the warnings placed before them. From the peaceful Garden of Eden to one of history's worst nuclear disasters, the same pattern appears again and again. Genesis chapter 3 is far more than the story of Adam and Eve. It is the story of temptation, the danger of pride, the consequences of our choices, and the hope that remains even after we fail. Let's journey back to the beginning. Let's start with the Garden of Eden, a world without fear. The Garden of Eden was unlike anything humanity has ever experienced. There was no sickness, no fear, no guilt, no hatred, no death. Everything God created lived in perfect harmony. Adam and Eve enjoyed direct fellowship with God. Every need was provided. Every day was filled with purpose and peace. Yet God established one boundary. He said, "You may freely eat from every tree in the garden, but you must not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, for when you eat from it, you will surely die." This command was not meant to restrict their happiness. It was meant to protect it. Like a loving parent warning a child not to touch fire, God's command reflected his wisdom and care. The question was simple. Would humanity trust God's wisdom or trust their own? That same question still confronts us every day. Let's understand the first temptation, when the serpent entered the garden. Notice how temptation begins, not with force, not with violence, but with a question. Did God really say? The serpent planted doubt. Soon doubt became deception. You will not surely die. You will become like God. The temptation was never just about eating fruit. It was about deciding whose voice deserved to be trusted. Eve looked at the fruit. It appeared beautiful, desirable, promising wisdom. She believed the lie. She ate. Adam followed. In one moment, human history changed forever. Their eyes were opened. Shame replaced innocence. Fear replaced peace. Instead of running toward God, they hid from Him. Sin didn't simply break one command. It broke humanity's relationship with God, with one another, and even with creation itself. I can relate this with history, which repeats the same pattern. The Chernobyl Nuclear Disaster. Nearly 6,000 years after the events recorded in Genesis, history witnessed another tragedy built upon ignored warnings. On April the 26th, 1986, at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant in Ukraine, engineers conducted a safety test on reactor number 4. The reactor had strict operating procedures. Safety systems had been designed to prevent disaster. Experienced engineers understood the risks. Yet during the test, several critical safety systems were deliberately disabled. Operating limits were exceeded. Warning signs appeared, but instead of stopping the experiment, they continued. Many believed they remained in control. Within seconds, the reactor exploded. The blast released enormous amounts of radioactive material into the atmosphere. Entire cities had to be evacuated. Thousands of families lost their homes. The surrounding land remained contaminated for decades. The consequences extended far beyond the people inside the control room. One series of choices affected millions of lives. Did you feel the powerful connection between Eden and Chernobyl? At first glance, the Garden of Eden and Chernobyl seem completely unrelated, but beneath the surface, they reveal the very same pattern. In Eden, God gave a clear warning. At Chernobyl, engineers had clear safety procedures. In Eden, the serpent suggested that the warning could safely be ignored. At Chernobyl, people believed they could bypass established safeguards without consequences. In both stories, the disaster did not begin at the moment everything collapsed. It began much earlier, when people convinced themselves that the rules no longer mattered. The greatest battles are often won or lost, long before anyone sees the consequences. They begin in our thoughts. They begin with the voices we choose to trust. Do you know Genesis chapter 3 is still happening today? Most of us will never stand beside a forbidden tree, and few of us will ever operate a nuclear reactor. Yet Genesis chapter 3 continues to unfold every single day. It appears when we believe that one dishonest shortcut won't matter, when we sacrifice integrity for temporary success, when pride tells us we don't need advice, when anger controls our words, when greed outweighs gratitude, when we ignore wise counsel because we think we know better. Temptation rarely announces itself as destruction. It usually arrives disguised as opportunity. A small compromise, a harmless exception, an easier path. But history and Scripture both remind us that small decisions often create life-changing consequences. Let's learn 5 timeless lessons from Genesis chapter 3. Lesson 1. Question the temptation, not God's wisdom. Not every attractive opportunity is beneficial. Before making an important decision, ask yourself, does this lead me toward wisdom or away from it? Lesson 2. Small compromises create large consequences. Major failures rarely begin with major decisions. They begin with repeated small compromises that slowly reshape our character. Lesson 3. Pride often whispers, "The rules don't apply to me," whether in business, relationships, leadership, or personal life. Humility protects us from mistakes that confidence alone cannot. Lesson 4. Accept responsibility. After eating the fruit, Adam blamed Eve. Eve blamed the serpent. But healing begins when we stop blaming others and honestly accept responsibility for our own choices. Lesson 5. Our choices always affect more people than we realize. The decision in Eden shaped all humanity. The decisions at Chernobyl affected generations. Likewise, our everyday choices influence our families, friends, communities, and future generations. Did you realize the hope hidden inside Genesis chapter 3? Genesis chapter 3 is not only the story of humanity's first failure, it is also the beginning of God's promise of redemption. After Adam and Eve sinned, God did not abandon them. He called out to them. He clothed them. He confronted their choices with justice, but also with mercy. Even in humanity's darkest moment, God began revealing His plan to defeat evil and restore what had been broken. That hope continues throughout the rest of the Bible. Failure is never God's final word. Redemption is. Genesis chapter 3 is more than ancient history. It is a mirror reflecting the choices we make every day. Will we trust wisdom or temptation? Will we choose humility or pride? History reminds us that ignoring wise warnings can change the course of nations. Genesis reminds us that listening to God's wisdom can change the course of our lives. The next choice you make may seem small today, but it could shape your future tomorrow. So ask yourself, which voice are you listening to? Thank you so much for joining me on this journey through Genesis chapter 3. I hope this video helped you discover not only the biblical story, but also how its timeless wisdom continues to shape our lives today through the lessons of history and everyday experience. If you enjoyed this video, I invite you to continue this journey with me in the next episode, where we'll explore Genesis chapter 4 and uncover another powerful connection between Scripture, history, and modern life. My goal with this series is to explain every chapter of Genesis in a simple, meaningful, and relatable way, showing how God's timeless wisdom remains relevant in our world today. If you liked the video, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel God's Ancient Wisdom. Your support encourages me to keep creating more videos that bring together the Bible, history, and practical life lessons for all of us. Thank you for watching, and until next time, may God bless you with wisdom, faith, and peace. See you in the next episode.